50 years ago, for the first time, BBC television cameras were permitted by His Majesty King George VI, as an experiment, to be here at Horse Guards to show the ceremony of trooping the colour. The commentator was John Snagg. The experiment must have worked, for here we are. The scene has altered astonishingly little, except that our pictures, in colour, go all over these islands, live to West Germany and Austria, in a few days' time to Belgium, Sweden and Switzerland, and to British forces in Cyprus and the Falkland Islands. We greet them all. For only the 9th time in the regiment's history, the colour to be trooped belongs to the 1st Battalion Irish Guards. The Queen's colour is in the keeping of Sergeant Moffat. 8 guards already on parade. The Queen Mother's procession approaches along the approach road. 2 barouches. And she will be greeted as the barouche turns from under the Commonwealth flags and onto the parade ground by a royal salute. The outriders are Ray Maguire and Nigel Day, on the horses Oscar and Kathleen. An exciting occasion for Prince William. He was here a couple of days ago for beating a retreat by the Royal Marines. Majesty the Queen in the ivory mounted phaeton. It was made for Queen Victoria by Barker and Company in London. A huge cheer from the crowds in St James's Park. It was built in 1842, the year Queen Victoria also tried another new form of transport, the railway from Windsor to Paddington. The horses off drawing the phaeton wearing state saddlecloths of the Irish Guards. The Queen, of course, can wave to the crowd and smile and do all sorts of things that she could not do in uniform. She now turns onto the square in front of the crowds before the old Admiralty building. The crowds all stand for Her Majesty, who looks relaxed and happy. Queen's head coachman since 1969, Arthur Sherwell, salutes the Queen's colour. The Queen Mother's guests up at the window of the Horse Guards building include the King and Queen of Jordan this morning. Queen Mother acknowledges the arrival of her daughter. And as the Queen arrives at the saluting base, she will dismount to be greeted on her birthday parade by the first royal salute. The rest of the Queen's procession halt wherever they have reached. And now the first greeting of Her Majesty the Queen. Green Park, the King's Troop Raw Horse Artillery began firing its 41-gun salute exactly at 11 o'clock to mark Her Majesty's official time. It will take just under 7 minutes to complete, 10 seconds between rounds. Meanwhile, the Queen has returned to her carriage, and the first part of the birthday parade begins, the inspection of the line. Escorted by the Brigade Major, Lieutenant Colonel Douglas Erskine Crum, Scots Guards on St. Anna, and 4 troopers of the Blues and Royals, accompanied by senior officers, including the colonels of 6 of the 7 Household Division regiments, by officers of her household. The Queen will drive past the massed bands and then turn right along the line of 8 guards. This is the first of the 5 parts of the parade. After the inspection of the guards and the Sovereign's escort behind, there follows the troop in which the massed bands countermarch in slow and quick time. Then, after the collection of the colour by the escort, comes the 3rd part of the parade, trooping the colour through the ranks, followed by the march past in slow and quick time by the foot guards, and lastly the walk and trot pass by the Sovereign's escort of household cavalry, included as an integral part of the parade only since the first trooping of the Queen's reign in 1952. A proud day for the Grand Duke of Luxembourg. It's his regiment, the regiment of which he's colonel, the regiment in which he served, that is on parade today. 1st Battalion Irish Guards, which provides the escort number 2 guard, have been stationed in Chelsea Barracks on public duties for the last 2 years. They go to Belize in October for 6 months and then to Berlin in 1990. The Micks pride themselves in being a family regiment. Almost a third of those in parade have relatives who've served or are serving in the regiment. 25 of over 10 years service with the battalion. And the senior director of music is a Mick, Lieutenant Colonel Mick Lane, and he's arranged the familiar tunes played by the mass bands to accompany the inspection under the title Paddy's Songs, the Guards' memorial behind. She has passed the 2nd Battalion Grenadier Guards, the regiment of which she was colonel when she first attended this parade, now the 2nd Battalion Scots Guards. When that same battalion was to troop its King's colour in 1948, the parade was cancelled because of bad weather, cleared up, of course, at 10 o'clock. The subaltern of the escort was to be Lord Ogilvie, now the Earl of Airlie, the Lord Chamberlain, and the ensign chosen to carry the colour was his brother, the Honourable Angus Ogilvie, watching today with his wife, Princess Alexandra. Now she passed the Welsh Guards. Prince of Wales succeeded his father as colonel of the Welsh Guards on St David's Day in 1975, exactly 60 years after this battalion first mounted the King's Guard at Buckingham Palace. And 90% of number 7 and 8 Guards are on this parade for the first time, found by the 1st Battalion Coldstream Guards, recently returned from 2 years in Hong Kong. The 2nd Battalion is serving in Cyprus. First time since 1973 that all the regiments of Foot Guards have found the 8 Guards, and it may be next century before this happens again. And so Her Majesty turns the corner off the parade, and the Queen is followed by the 3 Royal Colonels, the Grand Duke of Luxembourg, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Prince of Wales. The Duke of Edinburgh, of course, had his real birthday yesterday. He was 67. Duke of Luxembourg on his left. The Gold Stick in waiting, Master of the Horse, the new Crown Equerry and the Equerries in waiting, the Colonel of the Coaching Guards and the Colonel of the Life Guards, the Major General commanding the Household Division, Major General Christopher Airy, Silver Stick in waiting, Colonel Andrew Parker Bowles, the ADC to the Major General, and in the cocked hat, the Chief of Staff, Colonel Malcolm Havergal. And the quick march is the Blackthorn, composed by Lieutenant Colonel Mick Lane, commemorating the Blackthorn stick carried by officers of the Irish Guards. The 3 Royal Princes salute the sovereign standard of the Blues and Royals. The 2 drum horses and the massed mounted bands. The Major General, Christopher Airy, CBE, General Officer commanding London District and Major General commanding the Household Division since February 1986. Gold stick in waiting this morning is General Sir Desmond Fitzpatrick, Colonel of the Blues and Royals. Master of the horse, of course, is the Earl of Westmoreland. The new Crown Equerry is Lieutenant Colonel Gilbert Denham, former commanding officer of the Household Cavalry. And they take up their positions in front of the Horse Guards building. The Guards change arms. And now he will give the command, the field officer. Troop. There will be 3 drum beats and a chord before the bands move off in slow time to the traditional tune used since 1869, The Huguenots by Meyerbeer. J. Davis gives the command, and the quick march is Colonel John, a new march composed by the Senior Director of Music of the Guards Division, Lieutenant Colonel McLean, incorporating Luxembourg tunes in honour of the Irish Guards 7th Colonel, Grand Duke John. Lance Sergeant Lum signed on as a junior guardsman 12 years ago and joined the Battalion Corps of Drums at Windsor at the beginning of 1978. He has detached himself from the mass bands and is marching to a position to the right of the marker for the escort. When the mass bands stop playing, he will beat a drummer's call. This is the signal by tradition for the officers to take post and the collection of the colour by the escort to take place in preparation for the central solemn ceremony of trooping the colour through the ranks. Lance Sergeant Lum marches off to resume his position in the mass bands, and orderly marches across the approach road to take the pace stick from the Sergeant Major of the escort, Regimental Sergeant Major Vincent McKellen, freeing his hand to draw his sword, the only occasion on which a warrant officer does this on parade.
Escort, for the colour, by the left, quick march!
The tune is the British Grenadiers, used by all right flank or grenadier companies of British infantry regiments. When the escort have changed direction with left form, they will mark time until the left guide, Company Quartermaster Sergeant Welsh, signals to Captain Gibbs that the massed bands have cleared the line of march. Now, as Captain Gibbs crosses the central roadway, he's looking for the small white marker stone 15 paces from the colour party, where he will halt the escort. So the guards have sloped arms, and on his last day as a warrant officer, Regimental Sergeant Major McKellen marches with drawn sword. He joined the Irish Guards 21 years ago, was the battalion light heavyweight champion in 1969, was a drill sergeant, a colour sergeant instructor at Sandhurst, and is being commissioned tomorrow. He picks up the ensign, Second Lieutenant Stephen Seagrave, with the white colour belt over his shoulder, and halts so that the ensign is 9 paces from Sergeant Moffat with the colour. Sergeant Major salutes the colour before taking possession of it from Sergeant Moffat. Sergeant Moffat takes the rifle which has been brought to him by an orderly and transfers it to his right arm before sloping arms. Now the ensign in turn will salute the colour. and when he has sheathed his sword, will receive the colour from the Sergeant Major. Then he will about turn to show the colour to what at this moment becomes the escort to the colour. And as the escort presents arms, the 4 NCOs at the flanks turn outward and port arms to symbolise the protection of the colour. The escort to the colour slope arms. The mass bands turn about, and Second Lieutenant Seagrave, the Sergeant Major and the colour party take their places in the escort. Regimental Sergeant Major McKellen and Sergeant Moffat halting together at the rear.
Escort to the colour! Change! Halt! Escort to the colour! By the centre! Slow! March!
And the slow march is escort to the colour. Bringing the escort into position to begin trooping the colour through the ranks while the mass bands perform their most singular drill movement, the spin wheel. Army Order 77, dated the 1st of April 1900, read thus: Her Majesty the Queen, having deemed it desirable to commemorate the bravery shown by the Irish regiments during the operations in South Africa of the years 1899 to 1900, has been graciously pleased that an Irish regiment of Foot Guards be formed to be designated the Irish Guards. Volunteers came from other Guards regiments, from Irish regiments, directly from Ireland. By the 20th of September 1900, the 1st Battalion was constituted. By 1901, they were serving in the Boer War. The first battle honour on their colour was won in France in the Great War, only 14 years after the regiment's formation.
Escort! Yeah! Good! Escort! To the colour! Shine! Hold! Escort to the colour! Freeze hands! Out! Stand! Go! Out!
The Guards slope arms and the Household Cavalry slope swords.
Archers, take post!
The
Take post!
officers take post and the colour moves to the rear of the escort. These last three Guards formed up in divisions before the corner, there'd be a gap in the parade. But as now, there will be none, and the great march past begins. The march past in slow time, and the fact that the 5 regiments are all on parade today is acknowledged in the music. The first 2 slow marches are Belle Isle for the Grenadier Guards and My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose to honour the Scots Guards. Major Dick Bradford coaching Guards. Gary Owen rides behind the field officer. And old Gary Owen, the grey there, looks as if he wants to mark time too. So the Guards now move forward, past Her Majesty the Queen, who stands, and the slow march of the Irish Guards, Let Erin Remember. Queen's colour of the 1st Battalion Irish Guards, presented only 2.5 weeks ago by Her Majesty the Queen at Buckingham Palace. Crimson silk, royal cipher within the collar of the most illustrious Order of St. Patrick, from which hangs the badge of the Order, and above the imperial crown. And on either side, 20 of the regiment's 50 battle honours. The ensign is 2nd Lieutenant Stephen Seagrave. Now, as number 3 Guard approaches Her Majesty the Queen, the music changes to the slow march of the Grenadier Guards, Scipio. Numbers 4 and 5 Guards, manned by the 2nd Battalion Scots Guards, march past to the garb of Old Gaul. Welsh Guards march past to Men of Harlech. Number 7 and 8 Guards, by the 1st Battalion Coasting Guards. They march past to the regimental slow march, Figaro. The adjutant, Captain James Stopford, Irish Guards, commissioned on his 19th birthday 8 years ago. Been adjutant since December 1986. This is his last day in that role. He's wearing the sword of the regiment's 4th Colonel, the Earl of Cavan, which he will hand on to his successor as adjutant early this afternoon. Now, the new rifles that you've seen being marched past the Queen at the Slope Arms for the first time in 29 years are quite heavy. They are nearly 11 pounds in weight, and you will see that now, as frequently through this parade, the arms are changed, and a very smart movement it is too. Two quick marches. The first tribute to the Coaching Guards, Northumbrian airs, followed by Men of Wales, a tribute to the Welsh Guards. And I wonder if you'll notice, as many people here seem to have done, that the old Slope Arms has brought back a very smart marching position, the chest out, the head held high. And these guards seem to march past with a swing. Regimental quick march of the Irish Guards. St. Patrick's Day. Guard, found by the 2nd Grenadier Guards, marches past to the British Grenadiers. Quite a task for the senior drum major to get into all these tune changes. Number 4 and 5 Guards, found by the 2nd Battalion Scots Guards, march past to Heelan Laddie. Rising of the Lark, the regimental quick march of the Welsh Guards. Number 7 and 8 Guards, found by the 1st Battalion Coaching Guards, march past to Milanoro. March is Aida. Belisarius, the drum horse of the Blues and Royals, carrying drums given to the Royal Horse Guards by King George III on St. George's Day 1805 in recognition of their honourable military conduct on all occasions. Drums of the Life Guards, presented by William IV on 23rd of July 1831. They weigh 98 pounds each, almost 100 weight that is, or over 44 kilograms if you're an air traveller, and are draped in the magnificent drum banners embroidered with the Royal Coat of Arms, sovereign's standard of the Blues and Royals. Also carries the Royal Coat of Arms and 45 of the combined regiment's 100 battle honours. The Blues Slow March, the regimental slow march of the Royal Horse Guards of the Blues. Prince William agog above. officer of the escort is Major White Spanner, Squadron Leader of the Blues and Royals Mounted Squadron. Escort Commander is Captain Mount. The standard is carried by Squadron Corporal Major Davis. Joined the regiment 19 years ago. Later this month becomes Regimental Quartermaster Corporal at Knightsbridge. Trumpeter on the grey and the coverer on the other side of the standard bearer. So the 1st and 2nd Divisions of the Sergeant's Escort have walked past. And now you'll hear the change of music to the Lifeguards' slow march. Lifeguards in scarlet tunics with blue and gold facings, white metal cuirasses. Farriers at the rear, Farrier Thomas, the Lifeguards with the black plume, Farrier Lance Corporal Smith, the Blues and Royals. Trooper Walding on Kerry sounds the trot, and almost before he's finished, the horses are off. The trot is Corelia by Sibelius. And that will be followed by Sullivan on Horse Guards. Rather an innovation, that, for a household cavalry trot. The Guards again present arms as the Sovereign's standard of the Blues and Royals is carried past Her Majesty. The regimental trot is the keel row. The Blues and Royals wear blue tunics with red and gold facings, plumes of red yak hair, chin straps worn under the chin. Helmets have been worn since 1842. The Lifeguards have plumes of white nylon, chin strap worn under the lower lip, like the chin stays of the foot guards, bearskins. Well over 200 horses in parade, 179 from Hyde Park Barracks of the Household Cavalry Regiment. They were groomed for 5 or 6 hours yesterday, and this morning they've been attended since 6 a.m. and were saddled by 9:30 this morning. Major Tomlinson salutes. The drummers, the kettle drummers, cross their sticks.
Stand! Royal Salute! Freeze and march!
Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, rides back to Buckingham Palace with the Princess of Wales and Prince William. The field officer in brigade waiting, Lieutenant Colonel Henry Wilson, rides up to Her Majesty the Queen.
Your Majesty's Guards are ready to march warpath.
Regimental Sergeant Major Perry Mason gives the signal that the way is clear. To your duties, by the left, quick march, and the march back to the palace is soldiers. Field officer rides across to join His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, behind the Queen's carriage. In front of the citadel, the military attaches in their medley of uniforms rise to their feet. Time for a quiet family smile. The mass bands move from the approach road into the Mall. And so, under the flags of the Commonwealth, independent nations, many bearing proud new names since their days as colonial territories, the Queen leads her guards on the march back to Buckingham Palace. The Queen, who has already reigned longer than any British sovereign this century. Her complex role to be both a person in her own right and the symbol of her people's ongoing inheritance. The guards who march behind her embody the ideal of that people's allegiance to the crown and the twin qualities of service and of excellence, which all 5 regiments cherish and for which they are justly famed throughout the world. From the points, the 8 colour sergeants and sergeants with company colours leave the parade ground, where they've stood motionless for the best part of 2 hours. And at Buckingham Palace, the arrival home is eagerly awaited by Prince Harry. And below, among the streetliners at the palace, a welcome face among the 2nd Battalion Grenadier Guards. Slattery's Mounted Foot, the mass bands play as the Queen comes home. she's watched from the balcony by Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and King Hussein of Jordan, educated at Harrow and the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst. And he watched the parade at Horse Guards too. A thrilling sight always as the crowds move down the Mall to see the Queen and her family one more time on the balcony. With her Prince Harry, Prince William, the Duke of Edinburgh, Lady Gabriella Windsor and Lord Frederick Windsor, with Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, the Prince and Princess of Wales. And sadly, low cloud means no fly past by the RAF. But it's the years that fly past on birthdays, whatever the weather. Yes, even royal birthdays.